Just hours from now, we will see a historic moment here in Philadelphia when Hillary Clinton becomes the first woman to formally accept the presidential nomination of a major political party. It will be, by any measure, the most important speech of her life. Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania is here now, along with my colleague Vladimir Duthier. Senator, thank you so much for welcoming us to your state.
Thanks. Good to be with you.
All right. So, Senator, you are from Scranton, Pennsylvania. What does Hillary Clinton need to say to voters from Scranton, a group that she's had some trouble with, to get them to vote for her?
I think what she should say is what she has been saying in this campaign, a focus on the middle class, raising incomes, focusing on some of the challenges we have economically, not just here in Pennsylvania, but around the country, focusing on the advanced manufacturing jobs of the future, figuring out ways, as she has, to put in place an economic strategy, rewarding companies that share profits. Doing things like that will incentivize growth. So it's mostly about an economic message, I think, that she's already delivered. I also think national security will be a big part of this campaign, and no one's more prepared on those issues than Hillary Clinton to keep our country safe.
Senator, as you know, Pennsylvania is key to winning in November. There's a new poll out from Suffolk University that shows that Hillary Clinton is ahead of Donald Trump by 9 points in the state. How will the campaign hold on to that footing in a state that could go either way?
Well, I think it's significant that this early in the campaign she's picked up momentum in Pennsylvania, and I think for the reasons that I just outlined, focusing on an economic message, bringing her experience and her ideas to bear on the debate. But I have to assume that it won't be that margin. We have to assume it'll be close, so we've got to work hard, working with her and for her to make sure she wins Pennsylvania. The winner of this state will be the next president.
Senator, you took to the podium here at the convention and endorsed Hillary Clinton, saying she's going to be the best candidate for the economy. I'm wondering specifically, what changes are you looking to bring to your state of Pennsylvania?
Well, part of it is to focus on those jobs that sometimes we lose in international competition, making sure that we're creating incentives to, as I said before, to reward companies who not only keep jobs here, but might share profits with their employees. Very specific ideas like that. Hillary knows, because her whole work in public policy over many years is evidence of her commitment to children. We can't win the economic battles internationally unless we invest in kids so they can learn more now and earn more later. That connection between what you learn and what you earn is significant. So both in terms of the long-term investments we need to make, plus the short-term strategies that she's going to employ. I think it's a great contrast with Donald Trump. For Pennsylvania, he's got no plan to raise incomes from the middle class, no economic strategy, a lot of bravado, a lot of hot air, but really nothing in the way of specific ideas. And we've got a lot of voters in our state that will pay close attention. And so far, I don't think he's offered anything that's going to move the economy of our Commonwealth or our country forward.
Senator, Donald Trump has touted his business acumen and expertise as a job creator. He's making a play for some of the Rust Belt states. He just released a statement just moments ago where he talks about the convention that is happening right now, and he says it's a fantasy world where America has full employment. But if you look back at the platform of the GOP back in 2012 when Mitt Romney was running, some of the things that they wanted to achieve by 2016 have been achieved under an Obama presidency. But Donald Trump is still able to appeal to people who feel as if their livelihoods are not as good as they were 8 years ago. What specifically is going on in the state of Pennsylvania?
I think Pennsylvania is no different than a lot of other states. We've had a long-term, 4-decade challenge with regard to raising wages, raising incomes. By one study, Economic Policy Institute told us 40 years, 9% wage growth. We're at the end of those 40 years. Despite, and I think in contrast to what President Obama has done, meaning lowering the deficit by $1 trillion, having 14 million jobs created, despite that economic momentum, there's still 30 years or so behind that of wage growth that didn't grow that much. She understands, Hillary understands, we've got to build on that progress and have a different and new approach to raising wages and raising incomes.
Senator, Donald Trump was in your hometown, Scranton, Pennsylvania, yesterday, trying to appeal to blue-collar voters by saying that he would tear up trade agreements like NAFTA. What would you say to Democrats who are so skeptical now as they look at the landscape, including some of the folks we saw in this hall during this convention holding the no TPP signs? What would your message be to them when they look at these trade agreements? They really blame them for the departure of these jobs.
Hillary Clinton agrees with me that we should oppose the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. And on top of that, in addition to that, she has said, as president, she'll evaluate trade deals based upon a three-part test. Does it raise wages? Does it create jobs? Does it enhance our security? If it fails that test, she's not going to sign a trade agreement. And I have not just confidence in what she says, but also believe that as president, she'll fight every day to focus on those jobs of the future for our state. And that means getting good trade policies in place and not just signing an agreement which might, in large measure, adversely impact Pennsylvania. I think she knows more about trade and more about growing the economy than Donald Trump will ever know. He gives a lot of speeches, but he's demonstrated no ability to specifically help folks in Pennsylvania, whether it's my hometown of Scranton or here in Philadelphia or across the state.
Senator, have you, to Elaine's point, have you had an opportunity to talk to some of the Bernie Sanders delegates and to hear some of their concerns, the things that they talk about that they say are important? Many of them say, as Elaine just spoke to some on the floor from various states, that one gentleman from New York saying he'd rather slit his wrist than vote for Donald Trump, but another saying, look, just because I'm against Donald Trump doesn't necessarily mean this is a vote for Hillary Clinton. They need to see more from her. So what can she do to reach out to them?
Well, I'd start first with the basic data on this, which means that most Bernie Sanders supporters will not only support but will vote for Hillary Clinton. That's a very high number, probably north of 70%. We don't have to achieve 100%. There's no mathematical certainty to that. I think there's going to be more work to do to continue to unify our party. A lot of it has happened this week. This is a substantial step in the right direction, but unity takes time. It doesn't happen over the course of 4 days or 5 days. We'll keep working on it. I want to be part of that effort to bring folks together. Senator Sanders has been out front and vocal and I think very focused on helping Hillary. This week helped a lot, but if there are others out there we need to talk to, we'll spend all the time we need to get their support.
Senator, I'm curious, are you surprised at how well Donald Trump seems to have connected with white working class voters?
Well, look, it's very early in this general election. What he has been successful at is winning very conservative Republican primary voters. That's not going to win Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania voters in the middle, suburban Republican moderates, for example, some Democrats who might lean conservative, and they're going to be listening very carefully, and they won't be easily persuaded by a lot of bluster and a lot of hot air. They're going to want to hear specific ideas, and I've been waiting for Donald Trump to give us just one good plan that will speak right to that basic issue of raising incomes, creating a manufacturing economy for the future. And for some strange reason, I don't know why he doesn't tell us what he'll do as president. He won't even release his tax return. So I think a lot of voters are skeptical when someone's not going to tell you about their economic plan and they're not going to tell you what's in their taxes. That's cause for a lot of concern.
Are you concerned that he's measured by a different political standard than your candidate is, than Hillary Clinton is?
Well, I think she has been the subject of intense criticism for many, many years. And I think what's going to determine the election, though, is there's still a group of voters in Pennsylvania who are undecided. I don't have a profile, but there's certainly people undecided. And I think when voters get to that basic voting decision, especially in the debates, and maybe most especially in the first debate, I think they'll see one candidate who's prepared to take on the economic challenges we have as a country and also the national security challenge we have as well. And I think that candidate will be Hillary.
Senator, to that end, let me just get your thoughts on Donald Trump's statements yesterday, his statements to the press that encouraging Russia to hack into Senator Clinton's emails. A lot of Republicans have said, look, the person who's really put this nation at risk is Secretary Clinton by having that private email server. But what's your reaction to a political opponent of Secretary Clinton's advocating for a foreign power to look into her emails, although later on he did say they should turn it over to the FBI.
Well, first of all, to my Republican friends, Hillary Clinton didn't put this country at risk ever, number one. Number two is we're in an area of unprecedented statements by any candidate for president ever to advocate that a foreign power break the law, in essence, and he's encouraging law breaking, is really reprehensible. And it's not just something to be dismayed by. We should be angry about this. We should never tolerate any candidate doing what Donald Trump did yesterday. And I could add some other things that I won't, but this is really a place where no candidate has ever been. I have no doubt a Trump presidency will make us less safe. And I know a thing or two about national security and foreign policy. I spent 6 years on the Foreign Relations Committee. I had the subcommittee that dealt with all of the Middle East and all of South and Central Asia, the most volatile regions of the world. And I have a lot of confidence in Hillary, and I've worked with her on these issues, that Hillary will keep us safe. And keeping us safe isn't about bluster and acting like a big tough guy. It's the hard work of daily diplomacy and tough negotiations and making those who would do us harm know that if you're going to do us harm, we will track you down and kill you. And Hillary will do that as president. And I think we saw that as Secretary of State.
Last question, Senator. We only have about a minute left, but what will your role be after the convention? Are you going to be out on the stump campaighting with Hillary Clinton?
I'll do whatever they need. I've offered to drive the bus that they'll take across Pennsylvania, but they should get a more professional driver. No, but it's kind of whatever it takes. Surrogate speaking, being on the road. And there'll be some days when, of course, both candidates can't be in our state, so I'll go on the road. I was talking to President Clinton the other night where we've already made a deal to spend some time campaigning as we did in the primary together. So I'll talk to 2 people or 2,000, whatever it takes.
All right. Senator Bob Casey, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.